These days, when people hear the name Ronaldo, almost everyone immediately thinks of Cristiano Ronaldo. But long before him, there was another Ronaldo, the one who made that name world famous in the first place. Many consider him the greatest player to ever live, and his story is also one of the saddest in the history of football. He rose from the Brazilian favelas all the way to the top of European football before becoming the victim of one of the most shocking downfalls the sport has ever seen. Throughout his career, he scored more than 400 goals, won 2 World Cups and 2 Ballon d'Ors. He was the player who, early in his career, when asked what he feared the most, answered, injury. An injured player is the saddest thing. Years later, at the end of his career, completely broken, he said, "It's extremely hard to leave something that has brought you so much happiness. Mentally, I want to continue, but I must accept that my body has given up. My mind wants to go on, but my body can't." And maybe all of this could have been avoided if people had not interfered with the natural course of life, if they hadn't tried to artificially create one of the most perfect goal-scoring machines of all time. Ronaldo Luis Nazário de Lima was born on September 8, 1976, in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro. He had 2 older siblings, and life wasn't easy for them. His father worked as a phone technician, his mother was a homemaker, and the family had very little money. Like many football legends, these difficult beginnings only strengthened his desire to escape poverty. He showed a passion for football at a very young age. He played all day on the streets when he should have been at school. At age 11, his parents divorced, which made daily life even harder, but it also deepened his determination to succeed through football. He felt it was his only way out of the harsh reality around him, so he joined a local futsal team. When he was 14, Brazilian legend Jairzinho noticed him and helped him get into the São Cristóvão Youth Academy. By the age of 15, he was already playing for the U20 team and built his reputation there. Nearly every Brazilian club noticed his extraordinary scoring ability, and he eventually signed with Cruzeiro. He scored 4 goals on his debut, and just 3 months later, he was already playing for the first team. He signed his first professional contract at only 16. He had everything needed to become the perfect striker. His style of play looked like that of a fully developed, experienced forward, even though he was still just a teenager. On October 5th, he scored his first hat-trick, becoming the youngest player to do so since Pelé. 1 month later, he scored 5 goals in a single match. He spent 2 seasons at Cruzeiro, scoring 44 goals in 47 matches. His performances earned him a call-up to the senior Brazilian national team, and in the summer of 1994, at just 17 years old, he became a World Cup winner with Brazil. He didn't play a single minute, but he still received a winner's medal, a massive achievement at his age. These successes were the perfect introduction to European football, and soon the biggest clubs in the world lined up for him. Manchester United nearly signed him, but a legal issue caused the transfer to collapse. That last-minute chaos opened the door for PSV Eindhoven, who signed him for €5 million, and also one of the worst decisions of his career. We'll explain why later. In the Netherlands, he continued exactly where he left off in Brazil, scoring goals for fun. At just 18 years old, he was already considered one of the best strikers in the world. Physically, he transformed into something incredible. Faster, stronger, almost unstoppable defenders bounced off him. During his 2 seasons at PSV, he scored 54 goals in 58 matches, won the Golden Boot and the Dutch Cup. A next career step was inevitable, and it came. In the summer of 1996, Barcelona signed him for a world record fee of nearly €20 million. He was only 19 years old, making him the most expensive player in the world, and he immediately justified the price. No adaptation period, no struggles. He scored 47 goals in 49 matches, won the European Golden Shoe, was La Liga's top scorer, and lifted both the Cup Winners' Cup and the Spanish Super Cup. Sponsors quickly found him too. He signed a 10-year deal with Nike, becoming one of the most famous athletes on the planet. It seemed he would stay at Barcelona for many years. The club even offered him a new contract that doubled his salary. But Barcelona's lawyers considered the deal absurd and vetoed it. Inter Milan immediately stepped in. They signed him for €28 million, breaking the world record again. In Italy, he was sensational from the start. He scored 25 goals, won the FIFA World Player of the Year award, and claimed the Ballon d'Or, becoming the youngest winner ever at just 21. Then came the 1998 World Cup, the symbolic turning point of his career. He shone throughout the tournament and led Brazil to the final. But the night before the final, he suffered a seizure. He should have rested, but he still played. It was obvious something was wrong. He was a shadow of himself, and Brazil lost 3-0 to France. When he returned to Inter, minor injuries slowed him down, but no one expected what was coming. In November 1999, he tore a knee tendon against Lecce, sidelining him for 6 months. When he finally returned, he lasted only 6 minutes before collapsing again. This time, it was a complete rupture of his kneecap tendon. Doctors said his kneecap had literally exploded. Specialists claimed they had never seen such an injury before. Fragments of his kneecap were found up in his thigh. It was a miracle he could even walk again. But Ronaldo believed in recovery. He didn't give up. He missed 2 full seasons, but in 2002 he returned, completing one of the greatest comebacks in football history. He won the World Cup with Brazil and claimed another Ballon d'Or. Real Madrid wanted to be part of the miracle, so they signed him. On his first day, he broke every shirt sales record. Even though he arrived slightly injured, he quickly hit form, scoring 30 goals in 44 matches. But the injuries returned. He began missing more and more games, and weight issues appeared. Doctors discovered he had hypothyroidism, which slowed his metabolism and caused rapid weight gain. In 2007, Fabio Capello gave up on him, and Ronaldo joined AC Milan. But injuries continued. He missed another 6 months. By 2009, he played only 300 minutes all season, and Milan let him go. He returned to Brazil, and Flamengo helped him recover. Everyone assumed he would sign with them, but instead he joined their rival, Corinthians, causing a massive scandal. Throughout his career, Ronaldo never cared much about club rivalries. He had played for Barcelona, Real Madrid, Inter, and AC Milan. Now he upset supporters in Brazil too. For an average player, such a controversial transfer would have been the end. But Ronaldo wasn't average. In 2 years at Corinthians, he scored 24 goals in 42 matches, but his body was finished. On February 14, 2011, at age 34, he announced his retirement. But what exactly happened to him? When Ronaldo arrived in Europe at 17, he was still a skinny, fragile kid. But during his short time at PSV, he somehow gained 6 kilograms of muscle, something the club tried to explain as a growth spurt. Later, however, it turned out that PSV feared Ronaldo's body was too weak for the physicality of Dutch football, so they gave him steroids. Substances that made his muscles incompatible with the natural structure of his knee, meaning his muscle strength grew far beyond what his bones and tendons could handle. Combine that with Ronaldo's explosive playing style, and his body essentially became a ticking time bomb. To this day, the club has never officially admitted this, but several former doctors have described what really happened behind the scenes. It's important to add that, at the time, some of these methods might have been completely legal. Doping regulations were nowhere near as strict or well-defined as they are today. So, what truly happened? We may never know for sure, but the fact remains, Ronaldo's body was ultimately destroyed by a joint experiment between science and football. And that's how the most gifted striker in history became one of the sport's most tragic figures.